Hello everyone, welcome to my channel The Legit Astrologer. My name is Rajat Kapoor. Today in this video I am going to talk about Jupiter's retrograde transit in the sign of Aries. Jupiter, the biggest planet, the guru, has already begun its retrograde journey in the sign of Aries on 4th of September, and it is going to stay in retrograde motion in the sign of Aries till the end of this year, which is till 31st of December. This transit is going to last for 118 days. Jupiter makes a retrograde transit once every year. 1/3 of its time in terms of its transit, it is in a retrograde motion. But during this transit, Jupiter is going to stay in the sign of Aries. It is not going to move back in the sign of Pisces. And in any case, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon and share this video with your friends, spread the awareness. And in case you wish to book a personalized consultation with me, you can check out the link to my website and the process of reaching out to me. Jupiter has already gone retrograde in Aries sign in Bharani Nakshatra. Bharani Nakshatra is ruled by Venus. Jupiter currently is making a transit in the 3rd pada of Bharani Nakshatra, which is the Kama pada of Bharani Nakshatra. That means it is a time to check your desires, to keep a check and leverage your wisdom there to check on your desires. Jupiter, when goes retrograde, moves extremely slow. That is the kind of pace which Jupiter has at this time. I do not expect any kind of results for the next 1 month or so. On 3rd of October, when Jupiter is going to move to the 2nd pada of Bharani Nakshatra, which is very important for wealth and your action, this is when I expect some sort of results to really move forward, because Jupiter is going to be picking up the pace over the next few days while being in a retrograde motion. And this time Jupiter is going to move from Libra Navamsha to Virgo Navamsha. In any transit, the planet should move its pada or its Navamsha placement in order to get certain results. This is the basic principle. The most important time period during this transit, when Jupiter is extremely powerful, please make a note of these dates. From 26th of November till 31st of December, Jupiter is extremely powerful. It is making a retrograde transit in the sign of Aries, which means it is Vakri, it is gaining Cheshta Bala, and it is in Cancer Navamsha, which is its exalted Navamsha. Jupiter is going to be making a transit in the 4th pada of Ashwini Nakshatra, where it is in an exalted Navamsha. This is quite an excellent and an amazing time for us for wealth generation, new beginnings, auspicious start, any new work, initiation or a business that you wish to establish. If other conditions are supportive in your chart, this could be a potentially favorable time. This is also an excellent time for dharma, higher learning and any kind of new work that you wish to establish. So make the most of these dates. Now let's understand what retrograde really means. The basic principle is, when a planet goes retrograde, it appears to be moving backwards. Therefore, it is more closer to the earth. Its proximity is more closer to the earth, which makes it quite special. Here the planet gains Cheshta Bala and it is likely to deliver results because it gains strength during this time. Now, while being retrograde, the planet is also supposed to be looking backwards. It wants you to look back at some of the things or decisions that you've made in the past, reflect and re-evaluate some of those decisions for your better future. Jupiter during this retrograde motion is looking back in the sign of Pisces, which means this is an excellent time for spiritual liberation. You need to leverage your wisdom, knowledge. This is what Jupiter represents, who is the guru, in order to gain your spiritual pursuits. This could also potentially be a very good time to help others. Donate as much as you can to the best of your capacity during this retrograde transit. This could be of benefit to most people. From a nakshatra point of view, Jupiter during this retrograde transit is activating the 1st cycle, which means this is the time for self, your soul, body, well-being and also your intelligence Intelligence is also something that we see from the first cycle itself. This is quite a transformational time because the natural 9th lord and the natural 12th lord is making a retrograde transit in the first house. It is bringing some depths, some unfulfilled purpose from the previous birth that is associated to the sign of Aries wherever it is placed in your chart, and it is also linked to the sign of Sagittarius and Pisces that Jupiter rules. Wherever these signs are placed in your chart, it is an indication of some sort of unfulfilled purpose. In case you already have a natal retrograde Jupiter in your chart, you are likely to experience some sort of effects during this transit from a karmic point of view. The natural 9th and the 12th lord making a retrograde transit in the natural first house. This is where Jupiter gains directional strength or is Digbali, which means there are blessings of the Devata. This could be a potentially favorable time for long distance travel, spirituality, higher knowledge, dharma, putting your focus back into your dharma, into your lineage, connecting with your guru or your mentor. 12th house matters, which is about self-consciousness, how to build that, how to increase your overall self-awareness, the ability to help others, the ability and authenticity to give those who need you the most at this time. Offer whatever you can to the needy people, feed them. This is what Jupiter is trying to convey during this retrograde transit. Also a great time to put your spiritual practices in place and gain more from a spiritual point of view. It will help you in your overall well-being. During this retrograde transit, Jupiter is going to aspect the sign of Leo, the sign of Libra and the sign of Sagittarius, which is 5th, 7th and 9th from its position. Now out of these signs, the signs of Leo and Sagittarius are receiving 100% aspect. Leo is going to be highly active due to the double transit phenomena of Jupiter as well as Saturn, because Saturn is also aspecting the sign of Leo from its 7th aspect during this transit. Jupiter's aspect is all about knowledge and wisdom. So this could be a potentially favorable time to learn, upskill yourself and think about the impact, what you learned from the past, how it is really making an impact in your life. You need to assess, you need to reevaluate, you need to put those things in practice to make the most of it. You need to really find the meaning for learning. Also from a nakshatra point of view, during this transit, wherever the sign of Pisces is in your chart and wherever the sign of Scorpio is in your chart are likely to experience positive results, because this is where Venus gets exalted and Ketu gets exalted respectively, who rules the nakshatra of Bharani and Ashwini. These are the nakshatras where Jupiter is going to be transiting. This is from a general point of view. Now let me talk about how this transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs or the moon signs. You can link it more from a physical point of view with your ascendant sign and from a mental point of view with regards to your mind from your moon sign. Also make a note who is going to have a maximum impact during this transit. If you're running a dasha, antardasha, pratanta dasha where Jupiter is playing a role, Saturn is playing a role, Mars who rules the sign of Aries is playing a role, or if you have any prominent planets in the sign of Aries, in the sign of Pisces, in the sign of Sagittarius, in the sign of Leo and in the sign of Libra, you are going to have the maximum impact during this transit. If there are any planets connected with Jupiter in your natal chart and you are running its Mahadasha, Antardasha or Pratantadasha, you are likely to be impacted by this transit. I can comfortably say that 70 to 75% of people are going to have some or the other impact of this transit. Let's start with Aries ascendants. For Aries ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 9th house and the 12th house, and it is making a retrograde transit in your first house. The ruler of your fortune, dharma, father, long distance travel, higher learning, and also the ruler of losses, of your self-consciousness, which is the 12th house, the house of sleep, where you would like to give donations, spirituality, is making a transit in yourself in a retrograde motion. Okay, Jupiter during this transit is looking back at your 12th house. It is giving you a message to look back at your self-consciousness and do things to develop yourself more spiritually. An excellent time to give donations, offer help to those who need. This could be quite favorable for you from a transit perspective. Jupiter is going to be aspecting your 5th house, 7th house and 9th house during this transit, which means the knowledge needs to be linked to the future. Whatever you learn, it needs to be linked to your future that can help you in your business or your overall transformation, and it is some way connected to your past events as well. So you need to really look back, evaluate some of the things that you have learned and take this forward. One of the things that you need to be cautious about during this transit is to avoid overconsumption of food or watch what you eat, because Jupiter is an expansive planet. Wherever it sits, even during the transit, it expands its significance. So it is sitting in the house that represents your body. So you need to be careful in terms of what you eat. Have a balanced and healthy diet. Exercise every day. Follow the discipline of Saturn and the energy of Mars during this transit. Your 8th house and 12th house are likely to demonstrate positive results during this transit. So this is quite supportive when it comes to your own transformation and in order to build your self-consciousness and follow a spiritual path. Overall, I would say it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 8th house and the 11th house, and it is making a retrograde transit in the 12th house. The ruler of transformation, longevity, sudden ups and downs, uncertainty and depths, and also the one who rules gains in your chart, your social network, recognition, all the material things that you have in life, is making a retrograde transit in the 12th house of spirituality, 12th house of higher self-consciousness. Jupiter from here is trying to look back at the 11th house, which is the house of your gains, and is giving you a message that your efforts and what you do needs to be linked to your gains. Now there could be a possibility that you took some decisions in the past that could have had an opposite effect when it comes to achieving any sorts of gains in your life. So this is where Jupiter wants you to look back and reassess, re-evaluate some of those decisions to help you move in a positive direction. Jupiter is going to be aspecting your 4th house, 6th house and the 8th house with its 5th, 7th and 9th aspect. These are the aspects of knowledge. These are the aspects of wisdom. Jupiter wants you to learn those things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content, and that can support your long-term transformation during this time. During this transit, your 7th house and 11th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means there will be support of your partner, and during the first half of this transit, you are likely to experience some sort of gains. However, overall, I would say it is a mixed transit for Taurus ascendants, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Gemini ascendants. For Gemini ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 7th house and the 10th house, and it is making a retrograde transit in the 11th house. The ruler of your marriage, partnership, business, those people who are opposite to you. 7th house is linked to places outside of where you are. Since Jupiter also rules the 10th house, it plays a very important role in your career, in your job, profession and your actions in the society. This Jupiter is making a retrograde transit in your 11th house of gains, 11th house of all the material comforts that you have. Jupiter is trying to look back at your 10th house. Certain decisions with regards to your job, with regards to your career, with regards to your work or your overall actions are going to play a very important role in the coming days. Change is coming. It could be a positive one. Jupiter during this transit is aspecting your 3rd house, your 5th house and your 7th house, which means that knowledge is really bringing a change in yourself, which is a positive change that can support you for your future, that can also establish some sort of business prospects for you in the coming future, and that could be driven by your own knowledge and wisdom. During this transit, your 6th house and your 10th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means this transit is quite supportive when it comes to job related matters. When it comes to work related matters, the change could be quite pleasant, it could be big. But at the same time, a caution for you is to avoid any kind of overindulgence, any kind of extravagance or impulsive decisions when it comes to making a purchase or spending your money. Overall, I would say it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Cancer ascendants. For Cancer ascendants, Jupiter is an important planet. It rules your 6th house and it rules your 9th house. Your 6th house of daily routine, your 6th house of competition, your 6th house of debts and diseases, and your 9th house of fortune, long distance travel, father, higher learning is making a retrograde transit in your 10th house of career, work, profession, your actions in the society. Jupiter during this transit is looking back at your 9th house, which means it wants you to look back and reevaluate, reassess your higher learning. Try to create an impact through your higher learning. This should be your direction for the coming months. What you learn, how it is going to transform into an impact for your own self, for your workplace success. Jupiter is going to be aspecting the 2nd house, 4th house and 6th house during this transit, which means that your knowledge needs to be used in wealth creating opportunities and also to support your family. This could bring happiness in your life. This time period will also ensure that you look at fixing your daily routine. What you do in day-to-day lives would really matter during this time. Your 5th house and 9th house are likely to demonstrate positive results during this transit, which means it is quite promising when it comes to future, where your fortune is also going to be supportive. Any sort of long distance travel could be beneficial and you might see some sort of progression, some sort of positional rise or success during this transit if other conditions are supportive in your chart. One thing that you have to be careful or mindful of is workplace politics. Stay away from any sort of politics at your workplace. Focus on your work and what you need to do instead of what others are doing. This is a word of caution. Overall, it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Leo ascendants. For Leo ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 5th house and the 8th house, the ruler of future, your children, creativity. This is where the king sits. It also talks about positional success and also the ruler of the 8th house, which is transformation, longevity, sudden ups and downs and changes. It is making a retrograde transit in the 9th house of dharma, fortune, long distance travel, father, your higher learning. Jupiter from here is trying to look back at your 8th house. It wants you to put some focus on your transformation. Look at the transformation that you've had in the past, whether it was right for you or not, whether it made any difference in your life or not. And this is where you need to understand and make certain choices in order to maintain your transformational journey in the near future. Jupiter during this transit is going to be aspecting your 1st house, your 3rd house and your 5th house. Knowledge, wisdom is first for yourself so that it makes you change ready. Why change ready? In order to have a promising future, a future that can give you success, a future that can give you positional rise. So this is a learning phase for you. The more you learn, the better would be your growth. But then you need to understand how it is going to have an impact in your life. That needs to be very well linked. You don't need to just learn for the sake of it, but then you have to have an objective or a goal in mind. Make that clear. During this transit, your 4th house and the 8th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means it is quite supportive for future transformation that can bring you happiness and a sense of satisfaction. It can really make you comfortable. So change in the first few days might sound a bit unpleasant, but then it is going to become comfortable with time. Overall, I say it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Virgo ascendants. For Virgo ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 4th house and the 7th house. The ruler of the house of happiness, comforts, your homeland, mother, where you feel most safe, and the ruler of your marriage, partnership, business, those people who are opposite to you, is making a retrograde transit in your 8th house. Jupiter from here is trying to look back at your 7th house. This Jupiter really wants you to fix either your marriage if you're married, or looking for potential prospects for marriage, and this could be a favorable opportunity or a window for you if you are currently looking for a right match or an opportunity to get married. If you run your business, Jupiter wants you to make some changes and fix some of the things that are going not so good in your business at this time. So it is time to reevaluate, reassess some of these things. Jupiter during this transit is going to aspect your 12th house, 2nd house and the 4th house, which means that knowledge needs to be used in building your self-awareness. That makes you more conscious. It is all about developing self-consciousness during this time that can support yourself and your family and ensure that you are comfortable during this time. The more you learn, the better would be your environment, surroundings that could really support you in this journey. One of the things that you must also be mindful of is what you consume, what you eat. Do not overindulge in food and try to ensure that you have a balanced routine during this time. Go for healthy options. Avoid any kind of oily food, particularly during this time. Your 3rd house and 7th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means there is likely support from your partner, but you need to reach out for that. This could really help you in coping up with any kind of change that might be upcoming during this transit. Overall, I would say it is a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Libra ascendants. For Libra ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 3rd house and the 6th house, and it is making a retrograde transit in the 7th house. Not the best planet for Libras, but this rules your house of efforts, communication, change, short journeys, and also the ruler of your daily routine, your job, competition, debts and diseases. It is making a retrograde transit in your 7th house, the house of marriage, partnership, relationships, and also the house that rules your business. Jupiter from here is looking back at your 6th house. Jupiter wants to fix your daily routine. It wants you to reevaluate the things that you do on your day-to-day basis, and also it might want you to put your focus back into your job for your workplace success. Jupiter during this transit is aspecting your 11th house, 1st house and the 3rd house, which means knowledge needs to be applied in order to gain, in order to be successful for yourself and be ready for change. That is the kind of direction that you must have during this transit. One of the things that you need to be mindful of is, since Jupiter is aspecting your ascendant, what you consume, what you eat. Be careful about that. Have a balanced routine. Practice yoga, any kind of workout. Try to stay as active as you can and have a disciplined routine. During this transit, your 2nd house and 6th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means that if you fix your daily routine, you are likely to gain wealth. But this could come with certain amount of struggle during this time, because change is going to be there in terms of your business, in terms of your partnership, that you will have to deal with during this time. Overall, I say it is a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Scorpio ascendants. For Scorpio ascendants, Jupiter rules the 2nd house and the 5th house, the ruler of your family, wealth, those who you would like to protect, how and where you feed yourself. 5th house, the house of future, the house of children, the house of success, the house that plays a very important role in wealth related matters that are linked to your future. Jupiter is making a retrograde transit in your 6th house of daily routine, debts and diseases, your competition, and we also see job from the 6th house. Jupiter here is looking back at your 5th house. It wants you to re-evaluate, reassess your future and make certain decisions accordingly. You might come across a situation that you would think about the past and the kind of decisions that you've made. So it is a time for reflection, re-evaluate, recalibrate and move accordingly. It is time to look forward. Jupiter during this transit is aspecting your 10th house, 12th house and your 2nd house. This means that knowledge needs to be applied to make you successful in anything that you do which is linked to your work, which is linked to your job. This also means that if you do, you are likely to gain wealth. You are likely to add an additional source of income. But then you would also need to keep a check on your expenses. Keep a track, make sure that you focus on savings during this time. That could be helpful for you. During this transit, your 1st house and 5th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means that if you put efforts, you are likely to gain. You are likely to have a positional success, some sort of recognition or a promotion could be possible if other conditions are favorable and if you're running through a favorable dasha during this time. Overall, I would say it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Sagittarius ascendants. For Sagittarius ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 1st house and the 4th house, the ruler of yourself, your soul, your body, the one that rules your intelligence, and also the 4th house lord that rules happiness, comforts in your life, your mother, your homeland, where you feel safe and comfortable. The things that you do which make you feel content is making a retrograde transit in your 5th house, the house of future, the house of children, the house of progress. Jupiter here is trying to look back at your 4th house and wants you to re-evaluate, reassess things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. What is that you would like to do in order to feel more satisfied in life, in order to help achieve some of the goals that you have and ensure that you are in a comfort space during this time. So this is where you need to do some sort of reassessment, look back at some of the things which you have done in the last few months and try to understand whether you are moving in the right direction or not. It is an excellent time for reflection. Jupiter during this transit is aspecting your 9th house, 11th house and the 1st house. Knowledge is directly linked to your fortune, towards your gains, and these gains are for yourself in order to make you a better person. So this is quite a promising retrograde transit for you where you need to make the most of it. During this transit, your 12th house and 4th house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means if you have a little bit of inclination towards spirituality, that is likely to bring mental peace in your life. Practice meditation, practice yoga, that could be helpful for you. Overall, it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Capricorn ascendants. For Capricorn ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 12th house and the 3rd house, the ruler of your self-consciousness, the house of sleep, the house of giving away, the house of losses, helping others, supporting others. Also the one that rules efforts in your chart, communication and any kind of change that is coming in your chart. The house of short journeys. This Jupiter is making a retrograde transit in your 4th house of satisfaction, of happiness, your comfort space, mother or your homeland. This Jupiter is trying to look back at your 3rd house, which means it is giving you a message to evaluate any decisions that you made in the past which is related to your change or any kind of short journeys that you've undertook. The kind of efforts which you are making, whether these efforts are really giving results or you were to make some changes here, change the way of doing things, maybe follow a different way, that could really work. So this is the time for reflection in terms of making such decisions in your life that could help you a long way. Jupiter during this transit is going to aspect your 8th house, 10th house and 12th house. That means knowledge has a direct connection to your transformation. Why you need to transform? You need to transform so that you can perform better at your workplace, in anything that you do. and at the same time increase your self-awareness, understand your strengths and build on those strengths. Don't be bothered about weak areas or the things that you're not good at. Focus on those things which you are good at. This is a discovery phase for you, so you need to make the most of it. During this transit, your 11th house and 3rd house are likely to demonstrate positive results, which means you will only gain if you put efforts. If you do not put efforts during this time, there is no gain. As a remedy, you need to focus on helping others, supporting others, donate to the best of your capacity. Overall, I would say it is a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Aquarius ascendants. For Aquarius ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 11th house and the 2nd house. Jupiter plays a very important role for wealth related matters for Aquarius ascendants because it rules the house of gains, material comforts, wealth, your social network, your friends, and also family, income, your savings and accumulated wealth. This Jupiter is making a retrograde transit in your 3rd house of change, your efforts, communication, short journeys. Jupiter is trying to look back at your 2nd house and trying to put focus on wealth related matters, family related matters. This is where you need to rethink, reevaluate your current situation and how it is within your family, at your home. Focus on savings, focus on long-term investment that could be beneficial for you. This time will teach you financial management that could be quite good for your future if you make the most of it. During this transit, Jupiter is going to aspect your 7th house, 9th house and 11th house, which means knowledge needs to be applied to your business in order to ensure that your fortune is also supportive for your gains. You need to link your knowledge, what you learn, to what you gain. There has to be a direct link in terms of what is the impact. You need to understand the outcome or the result in mind and then learn. So have a goal and then focus on learning in order to achieve that goal. Jupiter is also Maran Karaka in the 3rd house. It is not a very comfortable position for Jupiter where it loses its significance. This time a mentor, coach or guide can really help you. Take their advice. It will be quite beneficial for you during this time. Your 10th house and 2nd house are likely to demonstrate positive results. This is the time to put focus on work and additional source of income that you can create during this time. Overall, I would say it is a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Pisces ascendants. For Pisces ascendants, Jupiter becomes the ruler of the 1st house and the 10th house. The ruler of yourself, your body, personality, your overall well-being and intelligence, and also the ruler of your actions in the society, your work or the kind of job that you're doing. This Jupiter is making a retrograde transit in your 2nd house of wealth, your family, how and where you feed yourself, those who you would like to protect. Jupiter is looking back at your 1st house. It wants you to reevaluate, reassess your own situation, your own awareness, and most importantly, your well-being. That needs to be the priority during this time. Jupiter is going to aspect your 6th house, 8th house and the 10th house. That means knowledge needs to be put in practice for your workplace success or job related matters and to support your transformational journey. Again, this transformation needs to be linked to your workplace or anything that you do for a living. During this transit, your 9th house and 1st house are likely to demonstrate positive results. That means there's going to be greater focus on yourself and in terms of leveraging from your fortune that is going to favor you. If you take any kind of long distance journeys, that could be potentially favorable during this time. Overall, I would say it is a positive transit and you need to make the most of it. I wish you the very best. So this was about Jupiter's retrograde transit in the sign of Aries that is going to last for 118 days and how it will have an impact on all 12 signs. In case you like this video, please share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and stay tuned for more videos on upcoming transits and videos related to Vedic astrology, as I like to keep things very simple for you. I hope that Jupiter's retrograde transit in the sign of Aries brings a lot of wisdom, helps us achieve higher learning, and that we put our knowledge in right use for our own self and for our own personal growth. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.